Welcome to Trade Deadline Tuesday. And I was told many times by Tiki Barber, it's not like baseball. It's not crazy like baseball. It's the NFL trade deadline. It can be kind of boring. There's a trade here and there. Nothing major. And yet today, we are all stunned because the New York Jets decided to trade Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks. And, oh, by the way, a young, talented wide receiver who sometimes drops the football before he gets into the end zone.
He only did it once.
That's usually enough to get cut.
That's true. Well, better than getting cut. You get traded.
That's true. Here are my emotions on this because I want to be brutally honest with you. When I first saw this story about an hour and 15 minutes ago, I was pissed off. Because, and I have followed this belief for many, many years, and that is when you have talent on your team, I'm not in a rush to trade it. When you have a good football player, yes, some of you think he's vastly overrated. I get it. There's been a lot of dialogue on Sauce Gardner, and if he's as good as we think he is, he's a good football player. I don't love taking good young talent and trading it away for what I deem as lottery tickets, and that's what draft picks are. So my initial reaction, I'm going to be honest with you, was disappointment. Disappointment that, okay, they got a lot of value back. I get it. 2 first-round picks. It's crazy. It's a Godfather offer. But my initial reaction is that's a good football player who's not on this team. And the Jets, in all likelihood, will probably use one of those picks they got to draft a cornerback that they hope is half as good as Sauce Gardner. That was my emotion. Now, once I see that A.D. Mitchell is in the trade, once I let it all marinate, once I converse with some of my fellow Jet fans, I feel better. Mm-hmm. I understand it. But the one thing you're not going to get from me today, and you may get it from Joe B., who joins us at 4 o'clock, and you got it from BT, who I respect as a Jet fan, and you may get from a lot of callers today. But the one thing you're not going to get from me today is a celebration, because I got nothing to celebrate. When you take a good young talent that you just signed to a contract extension, but because the state of the franchise is so decrepit that we all think it's a no-brainer to trade him away, that's not really a celebration. Have I understood why they did? Of course. Do I like the fact they now have extra first-round pick? Of course. Am I joining Sean Morash in the I hope Daniel Jones sucks trade? Of course. But I do not look at taking a talent like Sauce Gardner and trading him away for lottery tickets as something to celebrate. It's actually sad. It's sad that this is where we are. I get it. I understand it. As the hours and minutes go by, I will warm up to it. But I'm sorry. The easy part, just ask Joe Douglas, the easy part is trading someone away for draft picks. That's easy. The tough part is turning those draft picks into people that are worth a damn.
Wow. I can't tell if you're happy about this or pissed off about
Conflicted.
this. You are.
Did you get confliction out of that, Teak?
Yeah, I did, but I think you're also missing what's happening with this Jets team. They're not a good team right now. They need more talent. Period. We all know that. It is part of the ever-going conversation with this Jets team. You need more talent. And there are only a few ways to get more talent. Get very lucky in the draft. And I'm not talking about your first-round pick or your second-round pick. I'm talking about your third, fourth, fifth, sixth-round pick. Those guys got to turn out to be somewhat of players. Or you overpay in free agency. That's the only way to get better in today's NFL. And so the Jets know that they're not winning this year. They're going to probably struggle next year. Maybe not to, they're not going to be as bad as they are this year where they might win only 2 games or 3 games, whatever the number may be. But they're still going to be a building team a year from now. And so the time to build for is 2027. And the only way to get good players is to have draft picks. And that's what they're doing. Yes, it's at the expense of Sauce Gardner, but who cares? Right? He's a player. And half the Jet fans think he's overrated, which is crazy as hell.
Wait, stop right there. You just said it, which was crazy as hell. So don't cite. That's not fair for you to cite how unfair Jet fans have been to him as a reason to trade him.
Okay, but
you're acknowledging you disagree with it.
No, I don't disagree with it. I think this Jet team is not a player away, a signed player away, an acquired player away. They're not anything away from being good. Sauce Gardner might be potentially one of those foundational pieces, but he's also just a player. He's just one of 53 that you need in order to have a good team. You can use him.
Well, who made a trade now?
1 second. If you can use him to make your team better, use him, because he's not going to be the difference maker in 4 years when this team is competing.
Now, that glass breaks. If you're new to Evan and Tiki, means we have breaking news, and I'm going to warn you, it better be big.
Yeah, we wouldn't stop the opener if it wasn't big. The fire sale continues with the Jets. The Jets have traded Quinnen Williams to the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
We are waiting. This is within the last 30 seconds. No word on the return yet.
Wow. That was the one we speculated about, and maybe makes you happy.
Well, hold on.
Happy that one?
I have to bring back an oldie but a goodie. I'll never forget being live on the air when the Nets traded for James Harden, and my initial response was to scream at Tommy, "Who's in the deal?" So what I would ask politely in a much more respectful tone is, it's not a who, what draft picks are in the deal? Now,
it's another first-round pick.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it Dallas's or Green Bay's?
Well, this is the Mets chat, so
I'm getting this from Ian Rappaport right now.
Yes, that's what they just sent to me. The Cowboys are trading for Jets Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, and in the deal, they are getting a first-round pick and more to come to the New York Jets.
It's the Cowboys first, not the Packers first.
Wow. Thank God the Cowboys got smoked last night. Retroactively, let's go Cardinals. Okay. Here's my initial reaction to this one. When we talked about trading guys away, this was the piece I was more intrigued by trading.
Right.
Because I thought the return could be very high. And if they're getting a first-round pick for a 27-year-old Quinnen Williams, I'm intrigued, especially now. Because when you decide to trade Sauce Gardner, as you just pointed out, who's just a player, and they're more than a player away,
right,
you may as well go all the way with it. And if you're adding a third first-round pick, which I assume they're adding via Dallas's first, now you've loaded up this draft completely, and you're clearly in a direction of, we're blowing the baby up.
Well, no, so one of two things is happening right now. The Jets are saying, we are going to position ourselves, because they're likely to have a top pick anyways.
No kidding.
Next year. We are positioning ourselves to, if we win some games and end up, I don't know, not in the top pick, we can go to the top pick if we want to. We want to be able to get whatever player we want in this 2026 draft. And that's either a quarterback, or if Justin Fields plays well down the stretch, then it becomes whatever the top skill position player happens to be. It's probably going to be an edge rusher or maybe a wide receiver. Probably not a wide receiver, because you have two decent ones here. But they're going to get the best player available in next year's draft by now having 4 first-round draft picks. So they're positioning themselves for the 2026 draft.
They are positioning themselves that if they win some games, which most Jet fans do want to see because it shows you maybe there's something to believe in with this administration, they are positioned, like you said, with a full booty of first-round picks to trade up and get whoever the hell they want.
Yes.
And not for nothing with this Dallas situation, have you seen their schedule coming up? This could end up being a high. I don't think Quinnen Williams is fixing these Dallas problems.
Is it this year's first-round pick?
Apparently, according to this year's Dallas first-round pick,
else?
not the Packers.
Who else is in the deal?
We still don't have that yet, but you're getting the Cowboy pick is key here.
Oh, no question about it. Because
they win 6 games.
I think with the Indianapolis pick, the 2 picks they're getting for Sauce, the one this year isn't going to be that high, just based on where the Colts are, unless they completely fall apart and Daniel Jones does complete the pumpkin.
Even if they did, they're going to be 15.
The one for next year is very appealing, because what if Daniel Jones gets a new fat contract like he did with the Giants? The Colts stink, and the Jets are picking in the top 5 or top 10. The Dallas Cowboys, who clearly, Jerry Jones made it clear, hey, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to make deals. And they made one earlier today for the linebacker from Cincinnati where they gave up basically nothing. I think it was a 5th or 6th round pick. So they are really aggressive. But I think, look, my attitude for trading Quinnen Williams right now, it's obviously calmer because they've already traded Sauce Gardner. So once you've decided this is the route you're going of let's just load up on draft picks because we aren't ready to win right now, and that's the depressing part. Well, that's why I say to you, I'm not celebrating today because the Jets are walking around with 150 first-round picks. You still have to turn those picks into something.
Look, when a new regime takes over, this is necessary. What's happening with the Jets is always necessary. You very rarely are going to get a new coaching staff, a new philosophy, organizational credo, all that. You're very rarely going to get all of that new, and the players are going to stay the same. You need to cull. You need to get rid of the guys that don't fit your model, your mentality, aren't your type of players, don't have the same work ethic, whatever. You need to do this. The Jets are just getting to it early. We talked about this before with the Giants. This was the Giants' issue.
Right.
Is that they had success in year one under Daves, and it was like, all right, we can win. But they never culled, and they never got rid of the pieces that they didn't think that they needed. And as a result, it was just Band-Aid, 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 and eventually those Band-Aids get wet and fall off. The Jets are doing what's necessary. And it sucks because you're probably not going to win many more games the rest of the season, but who cares? This is about the future for the Jets, not the right now.
I also think with Quinnen Williams, there was no way. I mean, I don't care how great of a motivator Aaron Glenn thinks he is. There was no way you were going to be able to look Quinnen Williams in the eyes this week after trading Sauce Gardner and potentially more and say, yeah, we're trying to win, Quinnen. Just be patient. This guy's been here for a while. He was one of the longest tenured New York Jets, Quinnen Williams. In fact, I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. He may have been their longest tenured New York Jet. So I think once you decide to trade Sauce Gardner a few hours ago, you almost inevitably had to trade Quinnen Williams because Quinnen Williams was not going to be happy being here.
Right.
And I know that seems, well, who cares if he's happy? It matters. Leadership matters. We talked about it so much yesterday in regards to the New York Giants. And with a young team, you need people who are bought in. I don't know how Aaron Glenn was ever going to be able to look into the eyes of Quinnen Williams this week and say, yeah, we're still trying to win.
No.
There was no way.
No, of course not.
So I think once you made the decision a few hours ago to trade Sauce Gardner, you had to trade Quinnen Williams.
I'm sure this decision was thought about, and if not fully made, a week or so, more than a couple of weeks ago. That's what it feels like.
We are getting bumping reports here. Mike Garafolo is reporting that the Jets are getting the Cowboys first rounder, not the Packers, which we talked about. But Jay Glazer is reporting that the teams are finalizing the compensation. The trade is not done. However, it's going to be a second-round pick this year and a first next year for Quinnen Williams.
Wow, so they're going to get a second and a first.
But if that's the case, the first would be in 2027.
No, I understand. So that first-round pick may not be as valuable, depending on what the Cowboys are. I mean, who the hell knows what 2027 is going to look like? But you're telling me they're going to get a second-round pick and a first-round pick for Quinnen Williams?
That from Jay Glazer.
Now, think about this. As talented as Quinnen is and as talented as Sauce is, they have completely restocked their draft capital. If you're talking about now having 3 first-round picks in addition to what you had and a second-round pick.
Right.
All for those 2 players. Now, again, I'll repeat this because it's damn important for the next 6 months if I have to. Acquiring draft picks is easier than actually using them.
Yes,
because I'll never forget this, Teak. When they traded Darrelle Revis, which, again, was a major split here at this radio station. You got to trade him. And I think Darrelle Revis and Sauce Gardner, the situations couldn't be any more different. Darrelle had obviously already put together a Hall of Fame career. He was older. He was coming off injury.
And he was looking to get paid.
And he was looking to get paid again.
Right.
So I get it. But when they got the return that they got a first-round pick from Tampa Bay. Do you know what they did with their first-round pick immediately in the draft?
No.
They drafted a cornerback. His name was D. Milner. And so, essentially, when you trade a great talent, one of the picks you get, or one of the picks adjacent to the pick you got, you're going to use to replace the player you traded. Now, help me out, Tiki, because my memory sucks. Did D. Milner work out?
Yeah, that would be no.
That would be no. So, look, I get it. Do I think Darren Mougey is ultimately doing the right thing today? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
It's just painful, and it's not as easy as, great, we got a lot of draft picks. Everything's fine. They got to turn them into players. And I witnessed them turn a first-round pick and a D. Milner when they were replacing Darrelle Revis. So mark my words, Teak, with all the booty of picks they acquired, are they not going to use one on a defensive tackle that they hope is the next Quinnen Williams? Are they not going to use one on a cornerback that they hope is Sauce Gardner?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. So keep that in mind as everyone is having their ticker tape parades today because the Jets just loaded up on lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind.
And I think the way that they did the bonus structure, and we're going to have to get some more clarity on this, but it's not that egregious of a trade dead cap hit because of, I mean, his signing bonus was less than $15 million. I think it was $14 million was his signing bonus. I know there was an option bonus that also kicked in, and so how that's accounted for on the cap, this isn't going to be a massive hit on their 2026 cap for trading him pre-whatever. So it's almost like they knew this potentially was an option when they gave him his contract extension back in the spring.
Now, one thing jumping to Quinnen that's very important, and I surmised correctly in the last 5 minutes, because Connor Hughes is reporting that Quinnen Williams on 3 separate occasions requested a trade away from the New York Jets, which is not surprising in any regard. And I give the Jets a lot of credit. This is where I got to give Mougey and everyone in that building a lot of credit. The fact that that never leaked out is awesome, because if it did leak out, I'm not sure you're walking away with a first and a second. So I think what this shows you about the Quinnen situation, because it's different, even though it's sort of related, is that they had no choice but to trade Quinnen Williams. There was no way a guy who was already requested to be sent out 3 different times was going to be okay after they traded away Sauce Gardner. So this was almost a must to trade him. And they got back not quite the return of Sauce Gardner, but it's not that far off.
Yeah,
it is now being reported as a 2nd-round pick this season and a 1st-round pick next year.
Meaning 2026 draft and then a 1st-round pick in 2027.
Which means the Jets will now have in 2027 3 1st-round picks. A Colts 1st-round pick, a Cowboys 1st-round pick, and their own. This season, they currently have their 1st, Indy's 1st, a 2nd from Dallas, and their 2nd.
Yes.
So that is a Netsian collection of draft picks.
No, they're positioned in the first 2 rounds for the next 2 years to build a really good team with some really good players. Now, it makes it very difficult in 2030 and 2031, but who cares about 2030 and 2031 if all those draft picks hit for you?
Well, that's the thing. You got to hit them.
Right.
And that's going to be the thing for the next few months. Great. You got a lot of draft picks, Mougey. You better hit on them.
Okay, the Jets are also getting a player from the Dallas Cowboys in the deal. They are getting Cowboys' bust of a 1st-round pick from 2 years ago, Mougey Smith, the defensive tackle, who's been inactive for a few games this year.
Kid from Michigan, right?
I think it was Missouri.
Missouri, that's right.
Yes. He was in the Deontay Banks draft that year.
Right.
Yes.
So that's like another lottery ticket, basically. A 24-year-old former 1st-round pick that has not worked out. They're bringing in. He's been active for most of their games this season. He played all 17 games last year for the Dallas Cowboys and had a marginal to non-impact. So that's basically, we got a body to replace Quinnen Williams, and he's 24 years old.
And he did go to Michigan. I knew I was right.
My bad.
So they have now basically said we're loading up on draft picks, and we're bringing back 2 young players in A.D. Mitchell, the wide receiver from Indianapolis, and now this defensive tackle, Mougey Smith, as a, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Hey, Mougey, can you go replace Quinnen Williams? You're 360 or whatever the heck he weighs. I don't think he's that big.
No, he's 337.
Whatever. He's a big dude. Go replace Quinnen Williams. You'll get plenty of opportunities in a somewhat season, a lost or development season for not only this organization, but this coaching staff as well.
So, Jet fans, how do we feel? My feeling is, I get it, I understand it, but I'm not, ecstatic. It's actually depressing. Anytime you have to do that.
Why is it depressing?
Because they're so far away from winning. And I know we knew that yesterday, but it's just a reminder of that.
Yeah.
Same old Jets.
But sometimes you have to be far away before you can start to get closer.
Tiki, I don't disagree with you. That's why I understand what they're doing. I understand the long-term view here. I understand that Darren, Mougey, and Aaron Glenn are making their own team. And they got a ridiculous return back for one guy who demanded multiple trades in Quinnen Williams and another guy who half the Jet fan base thinks is the most overrated player in NFL history. I get all that, and I understand it. As the hour and a half has moved since the Sauce Gardner shocker went down, I am in a better place, even if you don't hear it. I'm just telling you I'm not celebrating because it's just a reminder of how far away we are. And it's a reminder. And Joe B will join us at 4 o'clock, and you can mark my words, he'll say this because it's so true, and it rings more true today than any other day. They better get it right.
Darryl Mougey.
You better get it right.
Well, there's no history to say, or at least make you believe that they're going to get it wrong.